So I'm not really sure why, but there's been conversations about us needing an upgrade at our third receiver spot. I've asked multiple people, had multiple discussions about the whole subject, and I can't really find a good reason on why we need to upgrade from who we already have. And the two reasons they want to quote unquote upgrade from Ray-Ray McCloud is because they think he's unreliable, or quite frankly, they just want somebody with name value at his spot. But anyways, we're gonna look at the numbers, we're gonna look at the film, and we're gonna see why Ray-Ray, he's just fine in his role right now. I first want to address the notion of having somebody with name value at his spot. Two names that flew around on Twitter were Devontae Adams and Cooper Kupp. Obviously, Cooper Kupp and Devontae Adams are great receivers, but this isn't Madden where you could just add receivers in a vacuum and you'll be an elite offense. One thing I learned when you're evaluating wide receivers, you have to look at them as far as how do they fit your team. If you look at our team, we have our Z receiver in Drake London. That's Cooper Kupp's role. We already have our X receiver in Darnell Mooney. That's Devontae Adams. So having those guys on the team would be redundant. And I understand in the Kyle Shanahan offense, receiver positions are interchangeable between X, F, and Z, but we're talking about primary roles in this offense. And we already have those primary roles filled out. And if we look at Ray-Ray in his role, he's probably at best our fourth option, and he had 765 total yards. So why would we need to upgrade from that when we're getting nearly 1,000 yards from our fourth best option? And to also look at that notion that he's unreliable, he's tied for second on the team in third down catches. So this notion that he's just not this reliable receiver and he's this drive killer is just flat out wrong. And with him having one touchdown, like, let's be serious. I think all of our receivers, yes, even Kyle Pitts, he should have had more receiving touchdowns, but Kirk went on that self-sabotage spree and the offense just sputtered. But let's get into the film, y'all. So one thing I think Ray-Ray has working for him is that he's quarterback friendly, just like Drake London. And with Michael Penix being our starter now, having a quarterback friendly receiver, not only just one, but two of them is going to make a huge difference. So on this play, it looks like we're running something called levels. Everybody loves this play in Madden. And we also have the Broncos showing blitz when everybody creeps up to the line. What ends up happening is the Broncos, they run a wham blitz, which is Will and Mike, and they're trying to get that pressure up the middle, and in return they're going to drop the Sam and the Jack linebacker, which is going to leave the middle wide open. Ray-Ray sees it unfold and he's getting his head around early, but Kirk was just late on this ball even though he still caught it. But this works. Being able to understand the different nuances to route running and when to break it off short or when to give your eyes is important, especially with having a young quarterback. The Eagles here, they're running cover 9, which is the opposite of cover 6. With cover 6, you usually have cover 4 to the field and cover 2 to the boundary. You're just flipping it in this instance. Zac Robinson calls up a shallow cross concept where Drake London is running this shallow crosser with the green grass rules, and Ray-Ray is supposed to be the vertical stretch element where he's running this over the ball route or OTB route. To show the defense again, with the anatomy of this play and the rules of the coverage, Reed Blankenship has the freedom to cheat over to Ray-Ray's route, and with Darius Slay being a smart corner, he's also keying that route too. So Ray-Ray can't even get to his landmark fully, which is the right hash or over the ball. He knows if he fully gets to his landmark in this route, Reed Blankenship and possibly even Darius Slay have a chance on making a play on this route. And by cutting it down short, he's able to actually give Kirk a window and they get the first down right here. Before we get into the next two clips, I want to talk about something that nobody's really talking about either, and that's the potential of how good this offense can be. So we all know that Kirk Cousins is literally just a floor raiser. He's not gonna make your guys exceptionally great from what they really are. And you can say what you want about the competition that we played the last few weeks when we had Penix starting, but it's obvious to see Penix is a ceiling raiser. Floor raisers keep you good, ceiling raisers make you better. And we saw this with Drake London. He took another step. He was able to get those rack opportunities. We also saw it in the screen game. The screen game was terrible all year, and when we put Penix in the game, our screens were efficient all of a sudden. It's not a coincidence. We used more play action because we had the mobility, we had the arm talent at quarterback. So if Ray-Ray was getting 765 total yards with a floor raiser, imagine what he could do with the ceiling raiser in Penix. And this brings me to the Minnesota game, and we're going to look at this play right here. Here we're running Zorro, and Zorro is a concept where Ray-Ray, he's running the Zorro route. It's essentially like he's running the snag route and a snag concept, but once he settles, he keeps working across the field for the quarterback. The Vikings end up dropping 8 and they're rotating to cover 2 from a single high look. You would call this invert cover 2, but since they're dropping 8, you would probably call it 28. And I'm showing this play because he shows off something that we really never saw with Kirk as a quarterback, and that was Ray-Ray's ability to run after catch. After all, he is on kick return and punt return for a reason, because he has the vision, he has the ability to make people miss in space. And this isn't exclusive to just Ray-Ray. I want to see this out of Drake. I want to see this out of Darnell, Kyle, Bijan, because with Kirk Cousins playing, it made everybody look like a possession receiver, and it did not look good. And in a West Coast offense where it's all predicated on timing and getting the ball out quickly in order to give your receivers that rack opportunity, Kirk just wasn't hitting us in stride consistently. And we could see once we had Penix doing that, we were looking way better. So the Buccaneers are running this 3 deep, 3 underneath with a 5-man pressure. We just call it 33 blitz. This coverage usually has match principles where, for example, the deep third on the outside would carry number 1 up and out, or the middle hook zone would be responsible for the number 3 receiver. But in this situation, the Bucs are just playing regular spot drop with this coverage. So with this in mind, Zac Robinson calls up this concept with 2 end cuts and a snag route to hold the flat defender. They're trying to pick on the middle hook zone where if he carry Ray-Ray's route, Drake will be open right behind him, or if he would have just sit right there, Ray-Ray would come around right behind his head and he would catch that ball. In this instance, Levante David just stands pat and Ray-Ray catches this ball in stride and gets some extra yards after catch. But with Mike's velocity on his throws, I fully believe Ray-Ray's probably getting more yards, if not scoring. And honestly, with all of our receivers, we left a lot of yards after catch on the table because Kirk was just not throwing with the velocity that he needed to. And when we saw Mike come in and give us those same throws, guys were getting extra yards after catch simply because the ball's getting there faster. Look, I'm not against adding depth at any position, even at wide receiver, but what I'm not gonna allow is people to act like Ray-Ray wasn't giving us quality production. And not only that, we saw once Michael Penix Jr. took over, the offense took a step regardless of the competition. When you look at this team on paper, you're not saying wide receiver is a position of need, because it's truly not. We're fine at receiver, but I wouldn't be mad at adding depth pieces, especially going into 2025. That's it from me, y'all. I just want to show Ray-Ray some love because he is getting vastly underrated by this fan base. But let me know what style of film breakdown y'all prefer. This is the second one that I've tried. The first one was more like a chalk talk where I have my clips laid out already and I'm kind of breaking them down live on video, or this one where it's more put together, more commentary style. But just let me know what y'all think, and I'll see y'all later next video. Goodbye.